Lots of things are changing at the VA right now, and some veterans agree with these changes wholeheartedly, and then there are other veterans who wholeheartedly, strongly disagree and are against these changes. Now, I'm going to give you my 2 cents here, but first, we're going to hear from the VA secretary and then go into some action that is happening today, just in a few hours, this afternoon, which is June 6th, the anniversary of D-Day. And I'll quit yapping, and here is the VA secretary. Here we go.
With the focus of this administration on cutting waste, you have been passionate about the fact that you don't need to sacrifice veteran care for fiscal responsibility. How are you going about doing that?
Looking at our organization as a whole, I mean, we've grown by, thousands of employees, billions of dollars in money. But really was the results, after a GAO study said for the last 10 years, we're falling short. We're on a high risk list for the things that we should be doing. So the question is, if you looked at it 10 years ago and you said you have this much money and this much people, wouldn't you have solved those problems? Well, the answer is no, we didn't. So what we're saying is are we spending the money in the right places? And also moving people in the right places. We have a lot of consolidation that have just grown over time. And you're not thinking, okay, if you add 5 here, nobody talks about it, but then after you do it numbers of times, you're into hundreds of people. So we've had consolidation of issues like payroll issues that should have been consolidated a long time ago, human resources, contracting. There's a lot of things that are behind the scenes that never affect a patient directly and also don't affect the ones giving that care directly, but can be done in a more efficient manner. So it's really just saying, what do you have and do we have it better? And if we've gotten too big, well, can we use those funds and resources for other aspects such as care and the equipment that we need as we go forward?
All right, so same money, just kind of reallocating that to better fit the mission when it comes to making cuts on contracts and making cuts on employees. Here's my 2 cents on the employee thing. The 80,000 cuts did not come from the VA and up to the VA secretary. It came from president down. Hey, VA, make these cuts. And so the VA, in my opinion, the VA secretary is really surgically trying to make it seem like these cuts are warranted at the VA, which they may or they may not be. I have no idea, but I can tell you this. If the number came from with an analysis done from the VA from the inside and then out and saying, hey, after our analysis, here's the number we recommend cutting, versus looking at a dollar figure, nothing else, not looking at veterans, not looking at VA facilities, nothing else, looking at a dollar figure and say, you know what, 80,000, gotta go, okay? So that's my issue with that. Now, I do want to bring something up to your attention here. This is being reported everywhere, okay? Here's Washington Post. They serve the nation. Now these veterans say they're protesting to save it. I'm not going to read this whole thing, just the headlines here. Today in D.C., thousands of veterans are rallying against Trump's cuts to the veterans, to the Department of Veteran Affairs, and his slashing of staff throughout the government. All right. Here is MSN here. Thousands of veterans to march on D.C. over feared cuts will not stand by. Here's Stars and Stripes. Veteran-led coalition urges veterans to turn out on June 6th for national rally. Here's military.net. Thousands of veterans to march in D.C. over VA cuts. Voices against VA changes. Here's another one. This is the last one I'll show. Thousands of veterans to march on D.C. over benefits cuts will not stand by. And here is the actual information on this rally for veterans in D.C., which is happening today. Okay, I'll leave this pinned down below. Unite for Veterans, Unite for America. Basically, they're against the VA, veteran jobs, healthcare, and essential VA services are under attack. We will not stand by. That's basically the synopsis here. When is today? It's going to be from 2 to 5, at least from my understanding. I'm going to go to this. Okay, I'll be streaming from 1:45 to 5-ish. At some point, I got to dip out and pick up the kids. Where's at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. If you want to join the rally, you can sign up here, and they'll send you an email with the picture of where it's actually going to start. Okay. My thoughts on the changes. It's twofold, okay? One, arguably, we cannot say the VA is great. the VA needs change. Got it. At the same time, the changes seem like they're coming from outside the VA into the VA, meaning there's no analysis of veterans, of the Department of Veteran Affairs being done. It's after the fact. Hey, VA, I need you to cut 80,000 employees. Okay. Here's the talking points we can give the media. Here's how we can spend this and make it sound right. Interior designers, contracts this, contracts that, payroll issues, which are all valid things. But the issue is the number came from outside the VA versus looking at the VA and say, you know what? After our thorough analysis, okay, here's our recommendations. Because don't forget, the 80,000 job cuts was a memo leak. We aren't even supposed to know that, okay? Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'll keep this one short here. That's really all I got. Let me know your thoughts on that issue. I know this is a pretty polarizing issue, so I guess till next time, thank you very much.